Says Rabbi Avram, now of course, when I tell you that the people who have Bitachon will get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and they'll have Menuchas Nefesh, and they'll sleep peacefully, and they'll still get what they need, this doesn't mean that there is no Chiyuv Shtadlus. And as I'll say it in his own words, these psukim that talk about Bitachon, for example, and on others like that, or the psukim who talk about the shallowness of the people who put in all their effort and their energy and teva, and they don't have Bitachon, like the other psukim that he brought. That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that a person who's Shema Torah mitzvah should therefore sit on the couch and sit back and not do anything, any type of ishtadlus and then wait for his parnasa to arrive like mon, or from other type of nes, just like it happened to some Nevi'im, that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided them their parnasa. Because not everyone can reach this madrege. We see that even Tanoim, who also worked for parnasa, Hill was a wood chopper, was a water carrier, Pechami was working with coals, Rend hired himself out as a daily worker, and he himself was the one that Klal Yisrael came to when they needed water. They came to him for davim. At the same time, he went and he hired himself out as a worker. So you see that there is a chiyuv shtadlus. Now, Rabbi Avram doesn't expand here on the details of the chiyuv shtadlus, and as far as like the Rabbeinu Bechaya told us separate details. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make sure we're not bored. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to test us how we do it. He doesn't expressly say all these details. However, he will discuss the laziness in a moment. But Rabbeinu Avram does tell us here that this idea that a person who has Bitachon knows that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will provide for him, it doesn't mean he should sit and be bored. Noach even worked in the field, as the pasuk says. And Inkel's Targum says Isha Adama means Gevar Polach Bari, was working in the field. Avram Avinu was a shepherd. Yitzchak Zara, Yitzchak planted seeds. Yaakov hired himself out to Lavan. Moshe Rabbeinu himself was a shepherd by Yisro. Now, of course, all these things are not to say for a moment that these Nevi'im Rishonim or the Ovis HaKadoshim or Moshe Rabbeinu thought that their parnasa has to come through an intermediary, Chas v'Shalom. But they felt that it was their obligation still to be Mekayim the Chayvis HaShtadlus at some extent. Of course, there's deeper levels, and why they were specifically in this way, as we see clearly, the Ovis and others were shepherds, and we see the story of Moshe Rabbeinu and how the Medrash tells us that that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu picked him. Fine. But we see that they did not completely remove themselves from the idea of working, of doing some type of ishtadlus. We see that the Torah itself says that a person should put in his own effort, it work in his own with his arms. Gemara in Bracha says that it's bigger what the pasuk tells us about the person who works and he gets parnasa from his ishtadlus rather than getting parnasa from tzedakah. The Gabi Reshamayim says Ashrei Ish, v'gaben enemy it says Ashrecha v'toivlach, which is it's good for him with olam hazeh, good for him with olam haba. So in other words, a person has Bitachon, for example, like the Nevi'im Rishonim. In other words, Rabbi Avram is telling us here what we discussed once already, that even at that level, a person, if he gets clarity from HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he's going to get his parnasa without doing anything, like Eliyahu Hanavi in the desert, then fine, he won't do anything, and he won't have any doubts whatsoever that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will provide for him. At the same time, there is room for these Tanoim, for the Ovis HaKadoshim, to go out and do a certain level of ishtadlus. Have a wonderful day.